than we had in game number 1. See whether KT can figure it out. Prowling projectile once again looking here at level 1, but a good ward goes down from Prey to start this one off. And for those that didn't watch the LEC, Papa Smithy, can you explain what this Pyke Yuumi bottom lane does?
So the big draw of Pyke Yuumi, at least as it stood on 9/11, I'm not 100% clear, I'll assume the interaction is still there, is that when you are in your deep water dive, the W, the prowling projectile, because Yuumi is an extension of the AD carry, or in this case, the carry champion, is invisible. So you just get a 80% slow from invisibility, and then Pyke shows up, and then you're screwed.
Yeah,
so that's kind of the big thing that happens there. It's also a style pick. There was a lot of kind of word that the comms for G2 was Pyke top, because it was a Jace and a Pyke answering the Jace, and then it was a Pyke bot, because in solo queue and European solo queue, they had seen the Pyke Yuumi be played. They're like, that's pretty cool, and you know how G2 rolls, right? They have fun when they're out there on the Rift, definitely IG style from previous years. So it's definitely a confidence duo. It's not picked for lane domination. And look at the runes here. Notice the Lehends has got Guardian, so they do find something defensive. It's not summon a spell heal, but it is a Guardian between the duo.
Yeah, buffer block coming in here as another Bone Skewer comes out. SnowFlower already down to half health, did get the Aftershock, and that's what keeps him alive, but not for long. Heal comes out eventually, that's going to be first blood at level 1, and I'm getting some really scary deja vu, Papa Smithy, as Prey can't find the last Q.
I don't know what SnowFlower was doing, what business he had being that far down the lane and trying to all in, just no experience in this against this duo at all. They continue brawling, is out of position, and SnowFlower dies level 1.
Now Viper gets back all of his health as well. Remember the zoomies comes out from Yuumi as well, so Pyke can go in for whatever trades he wants, and any health that he doesn't regen from his passive, he'll get back from Yuumi eventually.
Oh, just so unfortunate for KT. They needed some confidence, right? They needed a confidence boost after being dominated in game number 1, and that's definitely not the way to do it. Not the first level 1 death we've seen on a support. Mada also was really forced out of lane. 100% clear if he died or not, but certainly took a big loss at level 1. Those Lux level 1 trades, her level 1 way weaker than her level 2, and unfortunately, SnowFlower's not playing to it, so we're going to get an extended follow on this lane because it's novelty. You know, 1 game in the pro scene so far. You will notice another little interaction. You think of this lane, you think, ah yes, Relic Shield for the Pyke. But the reason you don't see that is that Relic Shield procs don't work when the Yuumi's inside, and that's a lot of the laning phase here, so just like from the side of Perks, we do see Doran's Shield start.
As we have a look towards the top side of the map, remember the Aatrox took a little bit of a hit from the nerf bat in 9-12, but so did the Aurelia to the tune of a very small amount. Tarzan cooldown, but
he missed
the undertow, picks up the axe, however, still gets the flash out and lands the second one. Good knockup comes in from Sword. Umbral dash, but now the twin Disciplin's comes in and scores, looking for that kill. Gets the follow-up. First blood goes to Griffin, but Permafrost is here. Score now looking for Sword. This will be a good trade for KT. But every flash on the top side of the map is down.
The first axe going wide actually ended up being consequential because it meant that Smeb opened up more distance towards his jungler. They get the answering kill. Very important to slow down Olaf in a game that Olaf could just decide straight up on his own. Watching the roam already.
Yeah, prowling projectile. Bone Skewer's not going to land, though.
You do see that it seems like that invisibility interaction is still there. Lot to think about with these roams, because remember, the prowling projectile can be started early before the deep water dash warning indicator is even available on the map.
You can see now they're just trioing in the mid lane, and Bone Skewer is going to pull BDD back, but not quite far enough. That minion wave does get eviscerated.
Now, this is not just a normal quirk of this lane, because you have to think about, well, how did they find the time to roam? They're roaming as a melee champion and a Yuumi duo. How's this happening? That's what happens when the laning god uses both summoners and dies at level 1. The Lux lane presence is going to be way more defensive now. She's so scared about the next Bone Skewer that this is very much the level 1 death spilling into the mid lane. and causing problems for BD. Now, top side, Tarzan missing the axe here means that Smeb just lives long. That's the reality. Even the stun at the end was also very, very important, but in almost any other gank attempt, Score doesn't get an answering kill here, so it's just important to mention that a little bit was salvaged on the top side.
Yeah, Score at least able to get a couple of permafrosts, and the last one meaning that Score had to flash. Sorry, Sword had to flash to get himself out of the way. Ocean Drake at 5.5 minutes. Pretty good one here for Griffin with almost everyone on the map apart from Sword. More zoomies and more regen.
More lane presence is kind of the most pressing thing that KT will have to deal with. Working towards Tiamat is Viper for that lane control, as you would expect on any sort of carry pipe.
Yep, and Prey is feeling the lack of counterplay to this particular Yuumi and Pyke combo as Viper clears out that last remaining siege minion from that minion wave.
Score himself is camping topside. To be fair, there's very little counterplay to the tethered prowling projectile that you can mouse control. Even standing in minions doesn't work most of the time, so it is very frustrating. My favorite thing to do is to play Yuumi against Sivir and just bait out the spell shield every time, because when do you spell shield? You just twirl it around when you see it.
The cute interaction is when you get the spell shield out and then immediately go to their support, which is what we saw yesterday, which was pretty adorable. The King's Zone series.
Now, playing through the Aurelia versus Aatrox matchup is something I talk about every time, because you can kill that Aatrox, and Aurelia is really strong in the 1v1. That's what we're seeing here. Remember, that interaction does not get revealed. That's the spectator quirk.
Yep, and Score doesn't have the ultimate, which is why they're not going to go aggressive. Smeb comes out of that brush, and Sword's looking to go home.
People think that the Sejuani indicator there is actually revealed to the enemy. It isn't.
No, the passive you can't actually see. We can just see it, though. It's much like when you see Baron being attempted on the spectator client. You see all of those effects going off. The enemy cannot see that one, much like your solo queue games where the Baron just gets taken. You don't see those when you hover over the Baron.
Not always equal, because there are some effects that are actually seen in the Fog of War. If you're actually looking over on that part, this like Mystic Shot, for example, can be at times. But for now, at least, we zoom in on the laning phase here is Viper, CS for CS. He's got that Tiamat, and if he can shove, SnowFlower summoners are up, so there should be less windows for Roam, but you want Pyke carry games to descend into chaos. That's what G2 showed to SKT, right? A bad laning phase doesn't matter if the mid game is Pyke resets aplenty. We're not there just yet, but we'll see how Griffin can keep a vision lead and then start to really simulate what Wonder and G2, now most recently Perks, are famous for.
Well, that Bone Skewer was pretty nice underneath that turret. You can see double Demolish most likely in this lane as well, as we've got double Resolve, meaning that they will have a little bit more of an opportunity. Final chapter coming down, though. They're looking for SnowFlower. Flash has to come out. Prey still has his True Shot Barrage avoided there by a great dash out from Viper. And the You and Me comes in from Lehends to keep him well and truly safe. It was a bit of a visit there from Tarzan, but they got the summoner spell they were looking for. SnowFlower is now food for Griffins.
They're going to return to him.
Yep, they'll dive on forward. SnowFlower in trouble as Viper comes in with the death from below. Does give Yuumi a big old assist with some extra gold. However, it's a 1-for-1 under the turret.
Definitely could have been cleaner. 1-for-1, not ideal given the trade that happens there, but the gold does go to the support. On the top side, looking for the turret dive.
Yep, Sword immediately goes into the ultimate, but there's an ultimate from Score as well. Smeb doesn't find the ult, though. KT will have to leave with the tail between their legs. Chovy. Yeah, that was a bit of a short on the bubble. Just wanted to set up the pool, I guess. Saying Sword's invited to his pool party?
Apparently. Definitely, it was pretty poor on both sides. Not like Smeb and Score weren't even on the same page. The flash was quite late. It was easy answering flash coming through from Sword. No Merc treads, remember, so it's not like he had the CC reduction for that to be a little bit more trivial. We talked about lane breakdowns, and Moby Boots is done, so Moby Boots Tiamat. We should know that running in with the Olaf is a real possibility for the cute cat.
Bone Skewer somehow takes Prey out of a minion wave there as the bop and block brings Lehends forward evermore. KT have to play back in this lane. We mentioned the fact that there was no flash on SnowFlower. That's still not there, even though he'd already died for it. That's just going to continue. The bottom lane woes are a huge deal now for KT. And it's just sad to watch, right? Like, it just felt like KT would be feeling so much better now with Prey on this roster.
I think the order of operations is really important, though. Like, getting straight up bopped in a 2v2 and then going to Pike is going to be, with Prey's confidence, kind of visibly shattered, right, from game number 1. So if you're going to do it, I appreciate the timing of it being in a game number 2. Don't have that liberty in the EU, of course. They don't have the best threes to go for the same strategic plays. Here we go. Once again chasing. Onto Prey. Changes on to SnowFlower.
Really cute movement there, but not going to get too much other than SnowFlower's W, as well as a little bit of extra poke damage.
Full interaction to speak about here is that Lux is surprisingly tanky, maxing the shield, going after Shock, right? 70-70 resists, plus that extra shielding that does add up. None of that interacts with Death from Below. So if you don't open with the early shield and try to shield yourself late, you die.
Lehends pops out just to make sure that turret aggro doesn't come in. You can see this turret is extraordinarily low. Viper dashes out of the way. Has a whole lot of that grey health that he can eat up as soon as he's out of vision range, and he'll be back at full health by the time they make it back to that lane. Because of those kills that went down, because Prey was out of lane, you could see how many of those turret plates had already gone down. 3. Over to Griffin as KT are looking for Shelly, but Tarzan's in place. Chovy clears out the minion wave, and here comes the bottom lane. The deep water dive heading forward as the prowling projectile lands. BDD immediately with the cleanse. It's a 2-for-1 special on that Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well.
How about a 5-for-5? Yep. Do that now.
We're going to try and find the ultimate from Score, and he lands it onto Sword. Sword ults, tries to get himself out. Doesn't quite get too much out from Griffin's ultimate from the Yuumi, but otherwise they're still going to start off this fight. That's going to be the Death from Below landing. Only one reset, however, as BDD gets turned on. Emperor's Divide was decent, but the Zoe gets the double kill. Olaf finishes it off as SnowFlower, last man standing, and the Lux gets destroyed. It's an 11.5-minute ace for Griffin.
And it's exactly the time you want to start fighting with a Pike comp. They were ready to go. The Olaf gets the Rift Herald, and the rest of it is history. Yuumi gets the actual pickup on it. But even though Griffin don't even get the entire reset bonanza, it's still a complete domination from them. We get to watch the replay onto Sword, and that's the person you want, right? You want to kill Sword before he gets going. Sword or Pike has to die first, but that doesn't happen in this particular fight. They turn on, and when the first kill comes in, you just know what's backing it up, right? That's just the reality of a comp like this. Interestingly, Aatrox doesn't get the passive reset here, so the Bloodwell isn't available for Sword because he wasn't available to get an assist on the first kill during that ult. Doesn't matter. They clean it up, and that means the gold lead. You know what? It's not quite game 1, but it's getting there.
It really is. It's really, really scary. I wasn't ready to have PTSD just yet, you know? Hoping for maybe a bit of a change. Prey has to use the flash. Already Arcane shifted to try and get out of the way, and now Tarzan's found SnowFlower.
Oh, Blast Bang.
Ragnarok not available just yet. Loosen Singularity is in there. Blast Cone is still there, but SnowFlower has made it almost over to this turret. He goes golden. But with 3 members here, it's not quite enough. Heal is going to save him from the Death from Below.
Well, definitely tier list-wise, we're going to put Viper below perks on the 80 carry Pike tier list. Not been on point with these Deaths from Below a couple of times already in this game, so there's something for him to work to.
Well, did at least land it, but not quite able to get that calculation.
No, it's one actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm pretty sure the heal almost saved him. Never mind. BDD, he's going to be able to get himself out of the way. And thankfully, keeps himself alive as well, as the turret is going to be under fire. Griffin looking for more turret plates in the last 20 seconds that they have. Infernal Drake goes down.
I feel like we need a replay to make sure if it was the heal or the actual ult missing. Now I can't decide between the two. What I can decide on is the Cap plops down the Rift Herald. The siege from the Zoe is going to belittle the members of KT. Prey tries to walk up, try to answer this. It's after 14 minutes, so at least that calculation is off.
Oh, that bubble was incredible. Lands on a SnowFlower as well. Squishy in the backline. Bone Skewer is what procs the extra damage and does a whole lot onto SnowFlower there. Meanwhile, the jig is up onto Smeb in the backline. He's looking for Sword, but in goes Viper. Gets the flash, gets the stun. First kill comes down. Now the Pike looking for more. Final spark, not going to be enough. Emperor's Divide is gigantic. Into the backline is now Sword. Has to pick up the mantle of the damage, and damn does he have it. There he goes. Chovy dives underneath the turret to pick it up. And Griffin, they have damage from everywhere. Umbral dash on the back part of the walls, real nice. And the triple kill for Chovy Zoe.
It's still a team wipe for the team of Griffin there. Even though the Emperor's Divide looked big, it wasn't enough. Sword rolls in late. Better late than never. We're going to watch the replay. It started so long ago. Somehow we're getting those King Zone Afrika flashbacks in this game. Olaf walks up, and it's already a bit of a story that he feels strong enough to walk up to an Aurelia and try to fight her, but it's because backup is here. Viper rolls in. The first kill comes in, but I was baited when BDD got this connection. I thought there might be a turnaround. Sword put pay to that very quickly.
Certainly did. Didn't find the death from below this time. That was straight up a miss, so shout out to Perks on that one. And the Pyke did eventually fall down, but you can see just the amount of damage potential out of the rest of the Griffin members. We were looking at Viper, right, because of last game. We're like, Viper is all the damage. Not this game. We've got Chovy Zoe. We have Sword on this Aatrox that has been accelerated, especially now. Sitting on a 450 gold bounty, 650 for Chovy in the mid lane. This is a story of Viper being flexible with where their power can come from.
So many turret plates picked up, some even left on the ground. KT 1 of 2, I believe 3 actually were missed by Griffin if the calculations there were correct. In my head, 5 turret plates, 800 gold. So if they only got 960, that's less than the number.
Yeah.
Adding them down, but it's at least 1 in every lane. The items starting to come together. It's 8,000 gold, and they're looking for more kills.
Yep, Prowling Projectile, but SnowFlower is going to come in. That's a good shield. Makes sure that Griffin can't go for this 2v2, although they'll still be able to get a whole bunch of poke.
Prowling Projectile hit a minion that time, so for once it was off.
Yeah.
That part I was able to capture. So between the Grey Health and also the Sustain, he's topped up and ready to go and do it again and do it again and do it again. And he's occupying the mid laner here. In the top side as Zoe pushes through mid. And all Smeb can do is show respect. They have no control of their red side jump.
Yep, you can see that Tarzan is down there as well as Bone Skewer is going to hit that siege minion. BDD notices that 2 of those cooldowns are now off. But Prowling Projectile doesn't have a very long one, Papa, and he's going to take the second one that comes out in that particular exchange.
Lehends has a blue, and that was a blue given to him. He doesn't have a kill, so this is a blue that was just given to him to make him even more annoying.
He's 0-0-12, Papa, out of 13 kills Griffin got. This is a pretty good Yuumi performance so far.
There's no one's call sign in MI6 that's 0012, so I'm going to guess it's their animal unit.
He's got a license to kill, we're just not sure of his character just yet. You know, 007's James Bond and 009 is going to be Sean Bean, but here we can see a fight towards the top side. BDD able to get a bit of work done. Good flash to get out of the way of the death from below. SnowFlower with the shields work. Clutch is now Prey trying to get in here. Sword comes down with the teleport. Prey's getting some damage through, and you can see the value of these shields is very high. Redemption comes in. That's going to be one that Chovy had. And Score's now trying to turn this on Chovy. There's a lot of dollar signs coming up in his mind as Prey's going to be the sacrificial lamb. KT were routed, but it could have been way worse than that.
Lambs the slaughter. It felt like everyone running like headless chicken. There's nowhere to go except away, but so many people coming down to intercept them that someone had to die. Griffin continue to push. They continue to flex, and the 10,000 gold lead. We're knocking on that door, Atlas.
Once again, we're 300 gold out. I mean, may as well just say 10,000 gold at this point. You know me, in my rounding, I'd be saying 10,000 because I can see a 27 and a 37 at the top of the screen. Let's have a look at where some of that gold came from in this exchange in the replay.
You walk up enough times to an Azir and you expect to turn. It's an answer to the final chapter, and that part of it is successful. Lehends releasing to that to end, but as the fight goes on, you'll notice between the Yuumis, E, and also just the Grey Health, the Viper can keep going, they can keep going, and the comeback, or at least the help here is going to be real because Aurelia has no teleport to answer, so it's always going to be outnumbered with a gold lead for Griffin.
Yeah, Tarzan was actually going to give that kill away, but decided in the end that he just wants to get that reckless swing in and take the kill for himself. Feels like Griffin do have the luxury of deciding who gets to kill the members of KT and when. It is some really scary stuff. There's, again, just a pretty disgusting gold difference between these two teams. As Tarzan, as far as his lead in the jungle is concerned, is almost 2,000 in 19 minutes.
Compared to game one, I agree with you, Alex. It's kind of a raffle for the kills this game. Rather than Ezreal getting all of them, this is very much a, well, whoever's there, whoever's best dressed, picks it up. So
just call it, you know.
And there's just situation. And you just know what kind of a game this is when Pyke has a CS lead over Ezreal, despite, of course, the laning phases being very much different, melee versus ranged. They have CS leads in every single role, even support. Obviously not a big one, but something that's happening here. The map control lead is insane, the 10,000 gold lead, and it's 4 kills short of a perfect game so far for Griffin. And the fact that they're playing kind of this new age, super proactive style and making things work, making chaos happen with this Pyke bot lane, and they've only given over 4 kills. Like, you're always going to take losses when you're looking for as many kills as Griffin. It's almost impossible to have kind of 20 kills in 20 minutes, enemy have 0. Yeah. But they've all been in scenarios where Griffin was only ever going to trade way up.
And they got 2 full aces against KT, so you can lose a couple of members in that scenario because you get so much map control with whoever's left over. On Griffin's side, now with Baron spawning on the map, they've got a couple of Ocean Drakes. They can start it if they feel like it. Ping's coming down from KT. They fear the possibility of a Griffin Baron, even if Lehends and Viper are on the bottom side of the map.
Baron speed not fantastic, but something like Aatrox and Olaf would probably be able to pull it down bot side.
Yeah, final chapter comes in. That's going to be the stun out of Viper as well. Death from below is all too easy. Looking academic on this map for Griffin as they'll take down the inner turret. Pressure mounting around the map as inners in every lane are getting brutalized.
LCK fans everywhere getting flashbacks of a bad time, of a dark time, of a loss to G2 and a elimination from MSI 2019. But this is Griffin, who have that friendship with G2 Esports. There's been some tweets between Carlos and the Griffin faithful. They were no doubt watching.
Yeah, went and visited, of course, when they were here in Korea.
This is some real inspiration stuff, and the inspiration may not match the G2 execution, but it's still deadly, deadly effective. Speaking of effective, Baron's low.
Yep, BDD had to run past the kiddie pool. The Baron does fall down. Sword, nice knock up. In fact, BDD is just getting booped around in this fight. The Emperor's Divide is there. BDD surviving for a long time, but Sword eventually grabs it. That's going to be the reset as well. Look at the gigantic damage of this Griffin squad. It's going to be their 3rd ace of the game. The Umbral Dash coming in from Sword. Doesn't have another one as Sword gets behind the wall, but he knows what his fate is. Another ace, no kills for KT. Teleports abound, and Griffin will break the base here, if not more.
Sometimes you have to accept your mortality, and Score at the end was the one who was there. They take down Baron. It's a 3-man unit. They turn onto BD. He goes the right direction to try to escape, to try to disengage Aatrox for as long as possible. But the moment he dies, you know there's a world of hurt to be inflicted on, and Tarzan just diving in, Chovy backing him up to kill Prey. Not a great day for Prey, not a great day for KT, and Score says goodbye, full world.
Yeah, another death from below after the reset. And Griffin now circling. They are certainly worse than sharks in the water right now. We're Australians, we know all about sharks and how scary they can be. I would prefer to be swimming amongst them than Griffin right now.
Griffin's blazing a trail. They're trying to blaze a trail for the LCK. They're trying to herald a new era. That's what Griffin have always been attributed to kind of different degrees of accuracy. I don't think they were the explosive, aggressive team in 2018 that they were built up to be, but they definitely had flashes of that.
Yeah.
And this year, alongside Kingzone and Afrika, you can see that Griffin are right now cut from the same cloth. Looking over at some damage, that was 400 AP.
470.
Well, I mean, there's going to be more soon. He's got a Magi, it's a very standard pickup.
Yeah, very standard. Also a needlessly large rod. It's going to be Lehends with maybe a Spellbinder for an epic amount of damage as Chovy's doing some exercise in the middle.
And we have to bring it up again. Lehends is the guy people copied when they were trying to understand what made Yuumi strong. His build, his runes, his approach. This time he rolls in Ignite. He's dropped that heal, and you know what? Feels like, unfortunately, the heat's only being ratcheted up for KT Rolster. They've had a pretty decent start to the season, but, you know, clearly not going to be suddenly a contender with Prey coming in, but this is the sort of loss where you watch on with great interest their second game of this week. They attempt to answer a loss like this.
Yeah, and if you're copying Lehends and his Yuumi build, probably stop after he was super far ahead, because now the needlessly large rods and Magi is not necessarily core items as you get towards the mid-game, unless you're sitting at 0-0-18 like he is. Griffin will get rid of the last 2 remaining inhibitors, and now they're circling once again. This Nexus is... If I was that Nexus, I'd be real scared. If something going wrong, a Score is going to go wide on the ultimate. Final chapter does come in. Smeb's looking for his fountain, but the Nexus turrets are going to fall. The You and Me gets Lehends out of trouble. He is just dancing around KT so beautifully, and the Nexus is going to fall before any member of KT even goes down. Griffin with utter demolition of the KT Rolster roster, much like what they did to Hanwha.